Greetings, this is Dr. Jimmy at your service, and this will be my 12th video in the history of Halloween Horror Nights 21. Yes, and here comes Bob the cat. Hello, Bob the cat. She's not in camera, but she's right here, next to me, right here on the desk by the computer, sitting here demanding pettings. But first, of course, as usual, I shall display what I'm wearing today to those of you who think the t-shirts mean something. And guess what? It means something. It means quite a bit today. I'm very pleased to share with you this lovely shirt that was sent to me by Sean McCarthy of Twisted Haunt Productions. Yes, notice Evil has a new home, Twisted Haunt Productions, and of course on the back of the shirt gives a bit more about it, including a website, and it says they want you to explore the Facebook and the Instagram and the Twitter as well, because it's a social thing. You don't be anti-social, it's social media after all. Yes, and I have to say I'm very pleased to share this with you. Sean McCarthy and his companions and employees who work with him at Twisted Haunt Productions are dedicated to going beyond Halloween. Yes, they make lovely haunted houses for people who want a haunted house for Halloween, but they also do haunted events, and they go way beyond Halloween. That is, they're dedicated with a mission, yes, to bring horror to every single holiday in the damn calendar. It's not just like Blood and Guts a bit, you know, a bit like HR Blood and Guts. Yes, they don't want you to just have haunts on Halloween. They want you to have haunts on Mother's Day. Well, I don't know about that one, but haunts on other days as well. I think that'd be a lovely Mother's Day present. Give your mother the scare of her life. No, that was when she met your father. Ooh. They also sent me the t-shirt when he sent it. He sent it to me free of charge, very nicely, but also in this lovely tote bag. See, a lovely tote bag on the back too. It has the website, twistedhauntproductions.com. There you go, all one word. And may I point out this nice little display folder. Logo slightly different there. Still an evil clown. Gotta love evil clowns. And inside, lots of information talking about the price list. So if you want to do, for example, decorative display, start at $250. Twisted themed specialty parties start at $500. Custom built haunted houses starting at $1,000. So if you have a little bit of cash saved up and you want to terrify your neighbors, your family, your friends, your dogs, your cats, your enemies, whoever you want to terrorize, you can do that. Oh yes, our services, it has Halloween theme parties, haunted house fundraiser, charity events, zombie weddings. That's a good way to get hitched as a zombie. Friday the 13th events, night before Christmas event, My Bloody Valentine's Day, masquerade ball. I like that, masquerade ball. Vampire bachelor or bachelorette parties. Ew, guess what jumps out of the cake in those? Twisted circus birthday party, zombie paintball, paranormal ghost tours, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. And it also, there's some adverts for some of his recent events here. For example, in March they had a St. Patrick's Day Green or Scream event. Isn't that fun for your little lepra condoms? That's after the party. Here we have the Cinco de Mayo Festival of the Dead. They had that as well recently. Both of those are at local pubs. So actually the Cinco de Mayo was right here in Winter Park at 8 Misbehavin', a sports bar right here in Winter Park. The St. Patrick's Day one is up in Longwood. And at the same pub in Longwood, it's a hookah bar. You know, it's where you can smoke your hookahs and have beer at the same time. It's called Taps and Caps. That's where they're having this weekend, tomorrow, Friday the 13th, Legends of Horror. Now, it's a little place, not too many people can get in, But just in case you are in Longwood and you want to have a thrilling haunted party on Friday the 13th, you might want to stop in, smoke a bit of it's tobacco in the hookahs, don't get any wrong ideas, but it can be flavoured, you know, and have a few beers if you're not into the smoking, and enjoy a lovely Friday the 13th haunted party. And it's being put on at that pub tomorrow, so there you go. Wonderful stuff. You see, you send me free stuff, I'll promote your events. That's the way it works. There you go. Bob has, oh, there's Bob. I see her now. She moved up there to Castle Bob. But she's engaged in one of her favourite activities, licking herself. Because she can, after all. Now, enough of that. This video is supposed to be about Halloween Horror Nights 21. The 12th video about Halloween Horror Nights 21. You know, I just realised why it's so freaking dark in here. I forgot to turn the lights on. Oh, it's the middle of the day. But when I do these videos, it looks a bit, you can see me a little bit better if the lights are actually on, for Christ's sakes. Alright then, I finished before, oh, my hair's gotten silly. I finished before all my, it's still silly, but not as bad. All of my, well, not mine, it belonged to everybody who went there. But all the haunted houses they did. The Halloween Horror Nights 21 in previous videos. So I'm here for Scare Zones. Scare Zones. And the first Scare Zone was located in the New York Street area of the park. In fact, I should say there were 6 official Scare Zones in the streets, Halloween Horror Nights 21. And that area of the park, the New York Street, starting with what was then still the Twister attraction in the Aftermath shop, of course. Now no more, but was there then. And then, of course, you go towards the library, and that, of course, is the entrance queue area for one of the haunted houses. A thing, that, yeah? And the front of Macy's, and then on the other side, of course, there's that little park, Gramercy Park. In that little area, not much more than that, because they didn't want you to go obstructing the entranceway to the Mummy's Revenge, or Finnegan's Pub, for that matter, if you want to go get drunk, because after all, people buying drinks pays for it all, a lot of it. Or helps pay for it all. Make a lot of money selling drinks on Horror Nights. So you got that on both sides. And that little area of New York, only that little area, was the Scare Zone Acid Assault. And similarly to Scare Zones they've had previous and after that. For example, way back in 2006, there was Dead Dropless City Under Siege, I think it was called. And there was Zombie Siege or something like that. Zombie Apocalypse type of Scare Zone. And previously in 2009, Apocalypse City of Cannibals, of course. And then, of course, the following year after that was that Walking Dead. No, actually, not the following year. 2 years later, in 2013, it was a Walking Dead themed area for Fall of Atlanta. But that area of New York then frequently had a Scare Zone with an apocalyptic theme. The world's coming to a bloody end. And sure enough, that year also had a similar apocalyptic theme. And this one, the idea is sort of a bit of a warning, environmental green, you know, Universal's green, warning about the dangers of global warming and other chemical exhausts and such that will radically alter the environment and cause, yeah, acid rain is one of the side effects of all that. Just look at the planet Venus. You know, planet Venus could have been a paradise, but it's too hot. The temperature a little bit hotter than Earth, and all of a, well, now it's a lot hotter, but because of its location, it turned into a hellhole. And that's what Earth could become if we're not careful. And this is real science. Real science. It's not a hoax. It's not made up by communists who are trying to destroy your economy and because they hate businessmen or something like that, which is what Republicans often think. No, I'm sorry, this is real freaking science. Science matters, kids. It's real. Facts are real. Don't destroy the planet because you want to make a few bucks right now, because a little bit later there won't be anything to spend it on. Dumbass. Okay, but enough of that political environmental message. Let's get back to the house. But again, the zone, that is, did have that sort of theme, because this shows what happens when you fail to take care of your environment and you allow the acid rain to come. You know, clouds of sulfuric acid form, and all this shit comes pouring down on you. The rain is quite acidic already now, but this is much worse. This is immediately. And so you have the whole area, you've got all sorts of overturned cars, and everything's corroded and dissolving. There's some people huddled and wearing protective clothing, and their faces are disfigured, and they're looking for something that's decent to eat because there's very little food left. And so you're gonna do and those savage creatures. This is one of the places where Damien, who's one of the scare actors, a man born with no legs, he fit in quite well, going about in a wheelchair with his legs corroded off, right? Of course, he never had legs, but this is a good place for him to fit in that year. He's had some wonderful characters over the years, of course, and then one of his best came up in 2012, but we'll get to that when we get to 2013, when we get to 2013. In Walking Dead, that was a triumphant year for him. But or last year, you know, Chainsaw Wheelchair Clown, that was wonderful. But lots of other wonderful scare actors in here. But the real star of this scare zone were not the scare actors so much as the special effects. Also point out, one of the vehicles was none other than the Kerry, Ohio school bus. Bloody hell. I've said this before. When the kids from Kerry, Ohio come on a field trip to your community, to your neighborhood, get the fuck out of town, because it's an apocalypse on its way. They were their city of cannibals. You then saw the same damn school bus show up a couple of times during The Walking Dead, and they just keep showing up at the wrong time, the wrong place. When they're there, get out. Oh, yes. So, but the real star were the magnificent projectors. They projected up on the sides of the buildings this magnificent effect, so that from time to time you'd start to see bits of brick in pieces crumbling off of the buildings, and it looked pretty real. And then there's like the windows start breaking, and then bits and pieces more fall. Next thing, the whole building's collapsing, and all you have is bare girders and scaffolding around you. Oh my God, the whole building exploded. It all this melted away, and this happened over on 2 or 3 different sides of New York Street. You know, over the by Macy's, and I think over a little bit further on one side, and on the other side as well, over by the I think New York Library, and then where the newspaper building is, which is, you know, newspaper building, the fire station, that whole area right there on that one side. So all this starts falling apart around you. It's like bloody shit, you know. Really nifty effect. And of course they also had like fire hydrants exploding, and I think they had like Trump law in the streets. Looked like the pavement was corroding and falling into pits. All kinds of horrifying thing. You know, they put barricades around it so you don't plunge into the earth. Of course, it's just a painting on the pavement, but it looks real. That is until it started to rain. The acid rain destroyed the painting that was supposed to make it look like it'd been corroded. Irony. Okay, second scare zone, also in New York, but over on the other side in Sting Alley. Only in Sting Alley, not extending too far into the streets either way, but pretty much in Sting Alley alone. And that was the Icon scare zone, because just like Fear the year before, Lady Luck was an icon that didn't get their own house, but got a scare zone instead. From what I understand, Lady Luck was a bit of a last-minute addition to what they had originally planned. I don't know if they had another icon planned or not. I know some people swear up and down it was going to be a Grim Reaper, but there's no proof of that or a sign of that. Some people said it was going to be at Islands that year, but you know, I don't know about that. But I do know that Lady Luck didn't have a house of her own, so they gave her a scare zone called Your Luck Will Run Out. and it was a little nifty alleyway. And you go through the little alleyway, so Sting Alley, and then you have the great spinning wheel itself, the Wheel of Fortune, and you have Lady Luck in her slinky gown and her red hair going over one side, Veronica Lake-like, really sexy, but then all of a sudden there's her other more bestial form coming out at you. You see her victim has been torn to bits, the gamblers in their tuxedo at a casino and they've been ripped open, there's a roulette table and a little house of cards, like the one that was on the website, you know, stuff like that. And you have, again, the pretty Lady Luck, and then the monster Lady Luck that keeps going back and forth. And big green glowing eyes for monstrous Lady Luck with her nasty teeth. Quite scary. Neat little scare zone, not tremendous, but effective, neat little scare zone. Made all the more evocative by heavy fog pumped through it, and of course the lovely sound of Frank Sinatra. Luck be a lady tonight. Yes. Going off through the whole scare zone. So that was fun. Alright. Third scare zone. The third scare zone was called Seven. Seven. And it was located on Hollywood Boulevard. And Seven, the idea behind this was the 7 deadly sins. If you're a good Catholic boy or girl, you might have had your catechisms, and you might have learned that there are 7 cardinal virtues, but at the same time there are 7 deadly sins. And these are sins that are not really deeds, they're more like impulses, more like ways of feeling or thinking. It might even be more like 7 temptations, really, more than the actual sins. But these are what lead you into the activities of sin. All the evil things that you might do are caused by these 7 things. And these 7 things, of course, then can destroy your soul. And that's the idea there. Not listed in the Bible anywhere, by the way. It was made up in Catholic liturgy. After that, the Middle Ages, mainly by little old monks who took oaths of chastity and poverty and all that, so they really didn't like those 7 sins. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. Alright, so I have to read my fine print. I write down notes to help my memory, then I don't remember what the hell I wrote. Oh, it says color-coded. Yeah, that's right. I'll get to that in a minute. So the 7 deadly sins are, in fact, pride. It's actually supposed to be the bad, the worst of them all, because that's, you know, where it all comes from, the selfish impulses. So you've got pride, and you've got lust, and you've got wrath, and greed, sometimes known as avarice, but it's greed. You've got, pride's also often known as vanity, because, of course, there's positive aspects to pride, you know, being proud of your accomplishments and yourself, and, you know, and there's black pride, and there's gay pride, and there's all kinds of pride for oppressed peoples who are being oppressed and being told they're shit, and they say, no, we're not, we're actually pretty good, and we have pride in who we are. And so there's that kind of pride. So vanity is sometimes used as the negative aspect of pride, because pride does have positive aspects, but traditionally it's called pride. So you have pride or vanity, and you have lust and greed, sometimes known as avarice. Then you have also wrath, of course, and that's 4 of them. Envy, that's a biggie. Envy causes all kinds of trouble because you're not content. You want what other people got. Coveting, that's one of the commandments. In fact, there's 2 commandments depending whether you're Catholic or Protestant. It's either, don't covet, according to Protestants. According to Catholics, it's don't covet your neighbour's house or property, as opposed to don't covet your neighbour's wife. They make 2 separate ones for a reason they've got, instead of all being one. And that's because they want to get rid of a commandment about graven images. Putting that in with and have no other gods before me, that way you can have graven images so long as they're not of those other gods. See? They said that's... You didn't know that, did you? You know these things when you're a professor of religion. But let's get back out of that. Envy, that was 5. Okay, 2 more, and those 2 more are gluttony and sloth. Sometimes called sloth, but I always think sloth sounds better, because if you say sloth, I think of a little animal that lives in the trees and hangs upside down and moves real has 2 claws on each finger. Not that kind of sloth. Sloth the sin. But speaking of which, I've taken too much time up, and now I have to continue with 7, the Scare Zone 7, which was really a big fan favourite, by the way. It's really fun Scare Zone, I thought, for as sinful as it was. Ooh, sin, I like sin. But we'll get to that in part 13! Should I wait till tomorrow, which is actually Friday the 13th, to do part 13, or shall I do part 13 tonight and put it out on the 12th? It was so appropriate if I do part 13 tomorrow. Well, we'll see. Okay, well, this is the end of part 12. Come back part 13, continuing Scare Zones with 7. Till then, have fun.